The absence of God's truth gives rise to the false perception of good versus evil. Instead of thinking in terms of good versus evil, think in terms of truth and error. True perception versus false perception. Good versus evil is the elaborate illusion of the ego to rationalize something that is by definition irrational. We are inside the dream of God, created by Him to experience humanity. It is so elaborate and immersive that we forget completely who we are. This is the reason why 70 times 7, you forgive yourself as Christ said. As even the most enlightened among us get lost sometimes. Even Neville Goddard forgot to apply the law of assumption in his life many times, as he so graciously admitted in number of his lectures. That is how alluring and immersive this illusion is. But if we do not feed Christ, we get sucked into the false perception of the ego. The good versus bad operating system is activated and we are sucked into the simulation of polarity. Ego is a false perception made up of entirely illusions, as explained in the book, A Course in Miracles. Because ego is the absence of spirit. Everything false is the absence of the truth. Darkness is not something in of itself, it is just the absence of light. When light unleashes itself, darkness is no more. No amount of darkness can withstand the light of a tiny candle. And that is how the spirit works in our life. But ego makes sure to bog down your mind with illusions. You are so lost in the world of polarity that you forget to feed the Christ within. How do you feed the Christ within? You feed Him with true perception. That is, there is nothing but God in this world. You let go of error that is belief in separation. You stop sinning. As Neville interpreted sinning to be, missing the mark. Therefore, you stop missing the mark by no longer making errors in your perception. That is, you focus on love. You focus on wholeness. You focus on your divinity. You choose what you want to experience deliberately. And you boldly live life with God in focus. That is, you live with spirit and not with ego. You no longer participate in the illusions of this world like politics, news, and hatred. Power games and the survival of the fittest mechanism is no longer in your focus. You free yourself from judgment and you see with true perception that this world is but a dream in the mind of God and you are a dreamer who is awake. And that is very exciting. Because an awakened dreamer can control the dream. And that is the whole point of this experience. God so loved you that He gave you the freedom of choice. To choose your experience. You shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. It wasn't said that you shall know the good and the good will set you free. It was always about truth and error rather than good and bad. Good versus bad makes you a participant in the simulation of this world. And when you get involved, you cannot escape or graduate from this dream. Because you are now lost in the false perception of the ego. This world sucks you in and you keep getting resurrected in this world or worlds like this, continuing your battle against the good versus bad narrative or whatever false perception you accepted as truth. All beliefs stemming from the egoic point of view in this world stem from error. Only true perception, that is, everything is the all, it is all you, it is all Christ, sets you free. You realize that this is a dream in the mind of the all, being dreamed for your appeasement and experiences. And it was done in love, for you. Because God is love. He so loved you that He dreamed you into being. And gave you the freedom of choice to steer where this dream will go. But in order to give you a genuine and immersive experience, God had to lose Himself when He became man. He so completely lost Himself in the experience that He forgot who He was. As Neville said, God became man so that man may become God. This is why, even though we have forgotten who we really are, we have an itch. That cannot be relieved. We develop an itch invariably in our life dreams that we are something more than this. That this all doesn't seem quite real. And the thirst for knowing Christ overcomes you. And you cannot escape it. As Neville said, the promise that you will become one with Christ is guaranteed. And this promise will be given you in due time. So, God has not abandoned us in this dream, which is a horrible nightmare for some lost souls. But no soul is truly lost. Invariably, the hunger for Christ within will overcome each soul to know who they really are. And it happens when a soul finally is able to grasp true perception. That is, he stops sinning and missing the mark. He stops getting sucked into the illusion of the ego. And he lets go of the grand dramas of this world. And he begins to think in terms of truth versus error. Where am I making error? Am I living life with spirit or the elusive ego? In one of Neville Goddard lectures he admitted that he stopped feeding Christ. You feed Christ when you stand with truth perception. You starve Christ within and feed the ego when you are lost in the illusions of this world of mortality. So even Neville got lost in this world of illusions. This is why we must keep coming back to Spirit continuously. The Bible speaks of continual forgiveness. That is 70 times 7 you keep forgiving. You keep coming back to Spirit and feed Christ. By applying the law of assumption. And there comes a time when you are sufficiently capable to direct you towards the kingdom of heaven. That is, more often than not you hit the mark and get what you want successfully. This world becomes your playground. You do not care what is happening in the world of politics and all the drama in the news. You build the perfect life for you and have all the blessings that you wanted fulfilled. So, you enter the kingdom of heaven. This is when you have sufficiently practiced true perception and Christ will awaken within you. You have escaped the simulation of good versus evil. The dream of separation. And you have been redeemed. And according to Neville, the sweet taste of redemption is unlike anything you know. You will be made whole like you have never known. This world is a stage for the prodigal son to go out and play the drama of good and evil and return to his father with true perception. So, awaken, O dreamer. The kingdom awaits.